Yes. Yes.
Can I read it for us?
Okay. Second Kings.
Chapter 4.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we can start from okay, let me just give a brief background and why it stood out for me. The Second Kings talks about Elisha. The first story is when he was met by the woman who was a widow. The woman says that my husband was a prophet, he was a good man, but now he's dead, and the debtors are coming to claim what we owe them, and they are threatening to pick my sons. So she's told about filling the jars, go borrow jars, fill with oil, that miracle, and then sell and make money. That's the first story. Then we all know that story, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then now the second one is the Shunammite Woman, the one I want to read. And what stood out for me is because I felt like she is a Proverbs 31 woman, but now who is already living, and it was very interesting. I just want us to draw some comparisons. So I'll read from verse 8, and then you can interject at any point and say what you pick also. It says, now it happened one day that Elisha went to Shunem, where there was a notable woman. King James actually called her virtuous woman. A notable woman basically just means someone who had class, someone who was known, someone who had a name in her town, which is a good parallel to the woman we're reading. And she persuaded him to eat some food. Remember when Proverbs 31 says about her being caring and being kind to other people? This woman was also doing the same. So it was as often as he passed by, he would turn in there to eat some food. And she said to her husband, look now, I know that this is a holy man of God who passes by us regularly. Please let us make a small upper room on the wall and let us put a bed for him there and a table and a chair and a lampstand. So it will be whenever he comes to us, he can turn in there. What character virtue do we see in that compares to the Proverbs 31? Just anything that comes to mind.
I think for me, I see a very caring woman, someone who is able to tend to even strangers, not just their family, but even strangers, being kind and hospitable to others, to the community. Because this is a stranger. She's not obligated to do it, but she is driven to want to care for this person and make room for them in their home.
That's true. Cynthia, anything that stands out?
Yeah, I think okay, maybe I think the same thing with Doris. She's a caring woman. Yeah, that is it.
Okay.
And also just to add one quick point, the fact that she can persuade her husband, also it feels like she has a good relationship with her husband, and her husband has trust in her. You know that part where he says the heart of her husband.
Safely trust in her.
She can actually convince him or persuade him to do this.
That's so true. And also, I also felt that she's the one who picked that this is a holy man who passes by, meaning her spirit is sensitive enough to know people who are of her kind. When people who worship God, and if in the same spirit you'd recognize the fact that she's the one who recognizes, and it's not even the husband. And as you're saying that she has influence of the husband, that means over the course of time she's probably been making decisions that have gotten her husband to a place where he can safely trust in her. That also was interesting. Then let me read 11 to 14. That's the next paragraph. And it happened one day that he came there and he turned in to the upper room and lay there. Then he said to Gehazi, his servant, call this Shunammite woman. When he had called her, she stood before him, and he said to him, say now to her, look, now you have been concerned for us with all this care. What can I do for you? do you want me to speak on your behalf to the king or to the commander of the army? She answered, I dwell among my own people. Then Elisha persists. So then, what then is it to be done for her? And Gehazi answered, actually, she had no son and her husband is old. What do you pick? Anything that mirrors our woman, our Proverbs that you want to? Yeah. Hi, Lydia, I see your hand is up. Speak kindly. Just it's okay. Cynthia, you can mute. Okay, so maybe let me say that the fact that the Elisha saw himself as having influence in the town and was actually recommending that he can put in a kind word for her to the king and the commander. Then she says that I dwell among my own people. It's like saying the people you want to recommend me to, those are my crew. Those are people I work with. Those are people I've already earned favor with. Like if I needed anything from the king, I would not need anyone to step up and speak for me. So that tells me, that we were being told she gets her merchants from farm and the way her trade is, that means even this woman, though not mentioned here, she has created relationship, not just with her family, her husband, but even in people in political circles, such that he doesn't need Elisha, despite being a man of God, to put in a word for her. Then there's the part about getting a son. Call her, from verse 17. Doris, can you read for us from 17 to 20?
Okay. It says, and the woman conceived and bore a son when the appointed time had come, of which Elisha had told her. So the child grew. Now it happened one day that he went out to his father to the reapers, and he said to his father, my head, my head. So he said to a servant, carry him to his mother. When he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees till noon and then died. Oh no.
That's a sad part. Continue actually just to the end, please. To 28.
So, and she went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, shut the door upon him, and went out. Then she called to her husband and said, please send me one of the young men and one of the donkeys, that I may run to the man of God and come back. So he said, why are you going to him today? It is neither the new moon nor the Sabbath. And she said, it is well. Then she saddled a donkey and said to her servant, drive and go forward. Do not slacken the pace for me unless I tell you. So she departed and went to the man of God at Mount Carmel. And so it was, when the man of God saw her afar off, that he said to his servant Gehazi, look, there is the Shunammite woman. Please run now to meet her and say to her, it is well with you. Is it well? Is it well with you? Is it well with your husband? Is it well with the child? And she answered, it is well. Now when she came to the man of God at the hill, she caught him by the feet, but Gehazi came near to push her away. But the man of God said, let her alone, for her soul is in deep distress, and the Lord has hidden it from me and has not told me. That's 28.
Yes. Okay, so the other part is the Elisha comes and the woman refuses to go with Gehazi for the miracle. Then Elisha comes and he comes, prays for the child, lays on him. The second time he prays and the child comes back to life. But what I wanted us to note in comparison is, because of time, And I want you guys to just read it again. This chapter 4, we start with a woman who is a widow, who was the wife of a prophet, meaning she had a Christian life. I would assume, because it says the husband was a good reputation. He was a Christian, and the husband feared God. The husband had a relationship with God. But this woman was so dependent on the husband that when the husband died, she could not offset the debt. And I would suspect she was not even involved in the business, because if she was involved, then she would have known what are the ways that my husband was using to offset this debt, but she did not know. So she went to Elisha, and the miracle came in. Then the next woman, the Shunammite woman, is totally different in that she already has a name. She's the one who is caring. She's the one who has titles. She's the one who is discerning of the man of God. She's married also, but she's not married to a prophet. The husband, actually, we are not told in the whole chapter where he had a relationship or any godly character worth mentioning. In fact, when the wife says, the part Doris is just read, that I need to go see the man of God, the husband was like, is it the new moon or these are the festivals? Meaning the husband knows that this woman has a religious, quote unquote, habit of times where she seeks God, and that's when she goes to fellowship with God. So this is a woman who personally had a relationship with God aside from her husband. And because of this relationship, Elisha was inclined to go out of his way and grant her a wish. It didn't come in form of government, but it came in form of a child. And when the child was sick and the child died, this woman petitioned beyond just accepting that the child has died. She didn't even tell, when there was a crisis of the miracle that she had gotten from God, she didn't even go to the husband to cry. She didn't even lose faith. She was like, no, all is well. She had said it, I think, twice or thrice. When she's asked, she says that all is well. And she pursues it. She pursues Elijah until the miracle she wants in terms of the life of her child coming back to life is fulfilled. So I think that really what stood out for me in these two women that being a wife, being married. You can have two women married to two people, probably in the same area, in the same dispensation, but how you approach life and how you experience the gift of Christ is very different, very, very different. Yes. So anyone who wants to add something before I stop and we invite others? What stands out for you in the Shunammite woman? Because I feel like she's actually a Proverbs 31 woman now being lived. And let me add one more thing. It's the fact that she's actually not a Jew. She's a Shunammite, meaning the relationship with God is actually a choice and something you grow and work at. Yes, anyone with something else to add? Welcome, Stella and Jennifer and Lydia. I hope you've caught up, but we've recorded. I'll share probably these in the group because we started also late. But I'll share you just discussing the Shunammite woman. Anyone? Okay. But you can hear me and I can hear you. Stella, Jennifer, and Lydia, can you like unmute and say hi so that I know we are together before I start the other recording?
Hi, Olive.
Good. So you can hear me. Hi, Stella. Welcome very much. You can also type, right?
Let me try.
Hi, Olive. Good morning.
Hi, Lydia. Good morning. Karibu sana. Yes, you can. You can. Lydia, are you an admin? Can you allow people to come in?